Hey guys, it's Yoda Joe 93
and Elevation Gaming.
We have a new kind of video series that we're going to start doing with you guys. So every week, starting whenever we can, we're going to be doing dating advice and tips for you guys to follow in, and we're going to cover different topics. So sometimes it will be, is it possible to date someone with a disability? Is it possible to help someone with depression by just being there for them? Is it possible just like what's dating like? How can you make dating life fun, and what is dating, right? Because that's the big question. You know, nowadays everyone's got all these websites and they think they know what they want, but like, what do they really want? We're going to talk about that. So for episode 1 today, we're going to talk specifically tips for a new relationship and how to start a relationship.
Yes.
So, you want to go first, honey?
Sure. I think it's like you need to make sure you're always communicating. Of course, like if you go and start a relationship online, you need to make sure that you seem interested in her or him. And just make sure that you don't have one-liners like, hey, sup, how's it going? It definitely enticed me that he messaged me first. And it's like he was so enraptured with like all the information that he could find out about me. And that was a big thing for me.
Agreed. That's a very good starting point. I would say the number one thing is you have to know your partner too. So like you can start talking and discussing with your partner who they are online and kind of getting to know them. But also don't just date someone because you feel you're interested in them. Oh, they're hot. I think they have interests that I have. Make sure they check all those boxes.
Yeah.
Make sure the person you truly want to meet. And don't date just to date. Date to win. And winning the game is marriage. So make sure you find, you know, obviously sometimes it takes time to find the right amount of people. Mm-hmm. But the hope is you find, you put that hope in that first person you could meet, could be your true partner for life.
And
you play...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, if you play your cards right, you can make that happen. Mm-hmm. You just have to make sure you meet the right people. But also, you have to decide, part of life is about wisdom. Like, when you're younger, say you're starting dating and you're like 15, 16, like some of the people that are at my job, that might not be the right age to do it because their minds aren't developed enough to really understand. Now, I'm not saying you can't date when you're younger, but there's less a chance when you're in high school that you're going to start a serious relationship.
Yeah.
Because there's too many things on your mind. Oh, school's hard. Oh, I have a job. This is hard. You need to learn how to balance life, and life will balance you out.
Yeah, and like when you're in high school, you're not thinking, hey, I'm going to get a house, and I'm going to have all these bills, and make sure that I know every single meal that we're going to have, and do we have the tools we need to do so? Do I know how to cook? All this kind of stuff. Like, you have to develop into that adult stage before you are ready to settle down. And if you're willing to date until that point, that's perfectly fine. But just know that there's probably going to be a point where you're like, I want to spend the rest of my life with this person. And you're probably going to get to the point where you're like, come on, this is waiting too long. I can't take it. Then there's times in your life where like the right person can come along at the wrong time. And it can happen and it can hurt. But you just got to keep pushing through and stick with them. Like, it's all about patience and understanding and just being able to be supportive. And if you can't take care of yourself first, you're definitely not going to be able to take care of somebody else. You need to make sure that you have self-love, self-respect, self-care, all that kind of stuff taken care of. I was going through that stage before I met him, and there's still some things I'm working on, even though we're engaged and we're getting ready to get married and all that kind of stuff. But he has helped me through so much, and it's so important to have that support. And when you are able to focus on one another, focus on your future, it's so motivational.
Yeah, that was really good. Sorry. wrong pipe, guys. That was a really good emotional way of looking at it. Like, you just need to know yourself, and once you know yourself, the rest will come easily. But you also got to find out, also, your compatibility is very important, but in order to be compatible, you have to actually learn who you are as a person, and that is going to be one of the first steps that you need to take. It's cool to have all those interests together, but make sure that you actually like being around this person. Like, I had an experience where one of my friends told me that their first date was boring, and I told them, you can't just give up on the first date because it might just feel awkward because maybe she hasn't been on a date before. Well, ways that you can make that happen is sometimes as the man of the relationship, it might seem, I know we come in lots of timelines where women didn't have equal rights and all those, like, they feel like they don't matter in some aspects. But when you're pursuing a relationship with someone, it is time for you to put on your big pants and you got to take charge. Women love that shit. Like,
we do.
They love it when you take charge, and you need to sometimes. Sometimes you need to say, okay, hey, instead of asking them, okay, you want this or you want this, and instead of waiting them for you to answer, sometimes you have to make decisions. People don't like to have to think about making the decisions for themselves. Sometimes if you make the decisions for them, it will help you equally. So, like, oh, what kind of food do you want, babe? Oh, no worries, I'll surprise you. And hopefully you're smart enough to know your partner at that point that you'll know what they like. Mm-hmm. And that will help. Don't ask, oh, what should we do for food? Oh, what should we some occasions it's okay because you really don't know, and either you can figure that out together, but that comes at a later stage. When you're first starting to know each other, then you got to pay attention to, like, the little details. Like, I know when I was first starting to get to know her, I wrote down everything that she ever told me that she liked. Food, music, video games, favorite superheroes. All those things are important in relationships. And
I did the same thing.
And that will help. That's a good, healthy stage. But the number one thing that we need to talk about, which is actually going to be the name of this podcast. So both of us come from a very Christian, loving background. And so the name of this podcast, which will be the first episode today, and the name of the whole podcast for you guys, is going to be Healing with Love. And healing with love first comes with, you need to make sure that you have been healed before you pursue your first relationship. Or even just any relationship. Don't jump in saying, like, all right, I feel healed, I'm ready. You won't know you're ready until you feel you're ready.
And the way you can start on that is just by Googling, like, questions like how to get to know myself.
Right.
Or things to do to better my self-love or self-care. Those little things, like, you write them down, you start to put them inside your head, and you remember those things about yourself. That way you can reflect, you can start to say daily aspirations, all that kind of stuff. It really does help. It helps you just to be able to focus better.
Agreed. Yeah, I think the number one thing with that also is, if you are starting to get to know your partner and in that stage, and if you're spending quite a bit of time with them, when you do spend time with them, make sure that you do like a memory type question game, like 20 questions, or just something like even there's like games like it's like a truth seeking game, but not necessarily a truth seeking game, but questions to kind of just know your partner and test your loyalty and your knowledge of your partner. Mm-hmm. That's another very important first step. Like, just the number one thing that you need to remember, there are three things that are most important: trust, loyalty, and honesty. If you follow all three of those, you will have a great relationship.
Indeed. And that's even revolving, like, the deepest topics. Like, if there's something that your partner is struggling with, or that they are having a obstacle pop up in their life that is like a serious topic, and you might not like it, you might hate it, you might have other issues that relate to it, but you don't know how to talk about it, it's sensitive, all that kind of stuff. It's listening, being understanding, and just being able to calmly converse about it. And there's nothing, if you have a partner that you are loyal and loving and you have so much connection with them, there is nothing you guys can't get through.
She's right. Now, the number one thing we're going to do to end this podcast, because we are closing out at 10 minutes and I am getting ready to leave for work, the last thing I want to tell you guys is trust is everything. Even when things feel bleak and dark and you think divorce is the answer, you think breaking up is the answer, it's not always that way. You can fix your relationship even when things seem bleak.
Exactly.
All it takes is, I like to use one of my favorite Disney movies, Peter Pan, right? So they say all it takes is faith, trust, and pixie dust. All it takes is faith and trust and love. Those are the things, and in order to get there, you have to love yourself. And once you love yourself, you'll get on that road and just converse with your partner. Make sure you're communicating where each other's are. Care about each other's feelings. And above all, when you're in a relationship, it can be hard to balance out how much time do I spend with my significant other? Do I have time to hang out with my friends? Some people's relationships go wrong because they become toxic to their friends because they're spending too much time with their significant other, but they don't understand the Miyagi way. They don't understand balance. But we can teach you balance. Balance is not hard. It just takes patience. Mm-hmm. And I know patience is something that a lot of people don't like waiting for, but it delivers. Patience will help you. Quiet your mind. And when you feel stressed, instead of screaming and doing whatever, take some time to just close your eyes, dim the lights, turn on some very contemporary music that are just very low key.
Could be lo-fi, could be Christian music.
Yep.
It could be anything you want. Just something that's relaxing, that actually brings your mood to a steady, relaxing state.
And take a deep breath and just meditate and have your moment. Have your moment with God, have your moment with yourself. That's all you can do at that point. And that's the number one thing you need to do. So, all right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed episode 1 of our podcast, Healing with Love. We'll see you in the next one. Make sure to remember these tips. Leave comments and thoughts below. Let us know what you guys think.
If you have any questions, feel free to add that down there too. We'll be more than happy to.
And we will do. And if you guys ever do have questions, make sure the next video we will read your comments and we will make a Q&A section next time, so you can ask us questions.
Yeah.
We might even one of these days, if you guys request it, if you guys like this format, we can also do a live, and we can also do a Q&A if you guys want. Just let us know in the comments below what you guys would like to see. And we'll see you in the next Healing with Love. Yoda Joe 93.
Elevation Gaming.
Signing off. Have a great day, guys.
Bye,
Thanks
guys.
for coming in.